Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing great. If it's your first time on this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate that. Consider subscribing and click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload new videos, you'll be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming to watch my videos. I really appreciate that. So today I'm going to show you how to cut and sew a fitted gown with a basque waistline. So I have here this fabric. This is 2 yards. This fabric is going to be my main fabric, and I also have this lace fabric. I'll be using this one from the underbust line down to the basque area. Okay, so I have this fabric as well. It's going to serve as a support lining to this one. And I have my main lining, which is cotton lining, it's 2 years as well. I also have my boning. I don't know. Maybe I will use boning at the front. I don't know. I've not decided yet. So for this project, I'll be working with armhole princess dart pattern and a basic back block pattern. Now, if you want to learn how to draft one, I'm going to be leaving a link at the description box. So the next thing I'm going to do is to locate where I have my underbust line. Now, this is my bust point line and this is my underbust line. I hope you can see the lines. This is my bust point line and this is my underbust line. This is the bust point line and this is the underbust line. So what I'm going to do now is just to cut through the underbust line to separate this upper part. So this is it. Okay, so that is the upper part, that is the other piece, and this is the underbust to the waist. So what I'm going to do next is to gum it together, but if you don't want to, you can go ahead and work with it like that. But I want mine to be in one piece, so I'm going to gum it together. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to use this pattern piece to, I'm going to extend this very one to form my basque. Okay, so I'm going to do that on the lining before I will transfer to my main fabric. So this my pattern has a side seam allowance. So what I'm going to do is to mark the side seam allowance. The side seam allowance is 1.5. So at this point here, I'm going to mark 1.5. This is 1.5. At the center front, I'm going to mark 4 inches. I'm extending my waist. That's the basque is 4 inches. You can do 3.5, you can do 3. I think the maximum you can do is 4. So it won't be very uncomfortable for you. So that's the 4 inches line mark. This is the 4 inches. What I'm going to do, I'm going to connect to where I have my side seam allowance. And this is it. If you don't want to do that this thing directly to your fabric, you can just add paper and extend to 4 inches. Okay, so this is my side seam allowance. Please remember to add 0.5 seam allowance to join to the lower part of the gown, and also here I'm going to be adding 0.5 to join to the upper piece, that is this very one. So I'll do that now. So at this point I'll remove my pattern. I hope you can see my marking. Let me highlight it so you can see it well. So this is the basque. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out. Okay, so this is it. You can see. So I'll transfer this to the main fabric and also to the supporting lining. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the lower part of the gown. So I'll be using my lining to do that before I'll transfer to the main fabric. So the waist I'm working with is 34 inches. Divide by 4 will give me 8.5, plus 1.5 seam allowance will give me 10 inches. So I'll mark 10 inches. My hip depth is 8.5 plus half for joining to the upper part will give me 9 inches. So this is a 9 inches hip depth. My round hip is 44. Divide by 4 will give me 11 inches plus 1.5 seam allowance will give me 12.5. I'm going to mark 12 inches and take 0.5 to the back. If you have been following my video, you will know that I always do that. I'll always use that 0.5 to create a space for the butt at the back. So, but I'll still explain that when I get to the back while drafting the back side. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my knee measurements. The knee height I'm working with is 17 inches plus 0.5 for joining to the upper part. Remember, by the time we join, it will shift. My my above knee is 17 inches plus 0.5 will give me 17.5. Now for the round knee, I'm going to be minusing 2 inches from my initial hip measurement. My initial hip measurement is 12.5 before I remove the 0.5, remember. So if I minus 2 inches from 12.5, I'll be left with 10 inches. So I'll mark 10 inches here. Now for the length of the skirt, the length of the down part of the the gown is 30 inches, but my lining is going to be 2 inches shorter than the main fabric. So what I'm working with, as in my lining length is 28 inches. So I have my round knee here is 10.5. So I'm going to extend the same 10.5 to the length of the lining. So I'll mark 10.5 here. And next thing is to connect the points. So I'll cut it out now and I'll use this to draft the back. Okay, coming to the back. Remember, I'm using this to cut the back. What I'm going to do is to first mark the zip allowance of 1 inch. The back is also going to have a dart allowance. Remember, I did not add a dart to the front, but my back will definitely have that. So from the side, I'm going to add a dart of 1 inch, and I'll connect back to the hip this way. Hope you can see this is my dart allowance, and this point is the zipper allowance. I need to join the points. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is to locate where I have my hip depth at the center front. So, sorry, at the center back. So I'm going to mark 9 inches. That's where I have my hip depth. At that point, whatever I remove from the side front, I'm going to add it at the center back. Remember, I remove a ½ inch from the side front, and that ½ inch affect both the two sides. So ½ inch here, ½ inch here will give me 1 inch. So I'm going to extend that zipper allowance to 2 inches at that hip depth area. So altogether, I'll be having around the hip depth area, the center back is 2 inches. So what I'm going to do now is to mark my knee height, which is 17.5. This is my knee height. So what I'm going to do next, from the top of the lower part of the gown, I'm going to connect to the hip depth this way. What I'm doing here is to create space for the boards, and I will connect to the knee heights this way. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see the shape? So this is the aim of removing 0.5 from this front side, the side front, and adding it back to the center back. So what I'm going to do now is to cut it out. I'll use the lining and cut the main fabric, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, I'm done cutting the back, as you can see. So this is the back, this is the front, and this is the side of the back, and this is the center back. You can see the butt space, you can see the shape, and this is the center, sorry, the side shape. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to bring my center front, and I'll create my basque. Remember that the basque extension is 4 inches, but for the lower part of the gown, I'll be working with 3.5. Yes, because by the time I join the upper part to the lower part of the gown, it will go down to 4 inches. I hope you get that. So this is 3.5 here, and I will mark my side seam allowance of 1.5. This is 1.5 here. So using my curve ruler, I'll create my basque shape this way. You see? Can you see that? Let me highlight it so you can see it well. So this is it. Let me check whether it matches up with the upper part. So this is the upper part. Yes, it matches up with the upper part. So what I'm going to do now is to cut it out, then I'll use it to cut the main fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do, I've gone ahead to cut out other pieces, that's the upper pieces. And this is it. This is the upper pieces. That's the main for the main fabric. This is it. So next, I'm going to alter the shoulder of my front piece and the back piece, and also the neckline. Now for the back piece, the neckline is 2.5 by 1 by half inch. You can see that it's very high. So for my shoulder, I want my shoulder to be 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is just to mark 4 inches. I'm working with the center, the back now, the upper back. So what I want my shoulder to be 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches here. And I'm going to extend the neckline to 6.5. I want the neck to be deep. Okay, so I'll extend to 6.5. This is 6.5 here. So I'm going to cut it out now. So this is the second piece. I will join them together and I'll cut. So by the time I'm done cutting, I'll use it to cut, to reshape the main fabric. So this is the shape I want. Okay. So this is it. I'll use this and reshape the main fabric. So coming to the front, I'll also alter the shoulder of the front and that of the neck. Okay, Remember, I used 4 inches for my back shoulder, so I'll do the same thing here. This is 4 inches. And the neck, this the neck I have here is 2 inches, 2.5 by 2.5. So I'm going to extend the neck depth to 4 inches. My front neckline will not be that deep, so I'll reconnect this way. Hope you can see it. Let me cut it out. So my front neckline will be high, while the back neckline will be deep. Okay, so this is it. So I'll also use this and cut the main fabric. Okay, so that's that. I'll cut out my lower, the lower part of the gown. That's the front. I'll cut out the basque waistline this way, and I'll use this to cut the main fabric. Okay, I've gone ahead to iron and interfacing to all the main fabric, as you can see, and I've also padded it. You can see this is my interfacing, and I also pad the lining as well. You can see. So what I'm going to do next is to go and couple it up, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. So I'm done coupling the upper part of the gown, as you can see. So this is it, and I later decide to attach my boning. So this is the boning, you see. So this is the boning. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the sleeve. So I'll be using this lace fabric for the sleeve. So for the length of the sleeve, I'll be working with 9 inches. Okay. So, and my bicep height is 5 inches. So this is my 5 inches here. Next is to connect this way. Please, if you don't understand what I'm doing, I'll suggest that you go over and watch my previous video on how to draft the basic sleeve. I'll be dropping a link at the description box. So my round biceps is 13 inches divided by 2 will give me 6.5 plus 1.5 seam allowance will give me 8 inches. So this is my 8 inches. I'll connect this way. Now I have to cross check whether the curve will fit around my armhole. So I have here 11 inches, and the round armhole is also 11. That is a round armhole is 22, so half of it is 11. So I have 11 from at the front, and I also have 11 here around my sleeve. So I'm good to go. I'll cut out the sleeve now this way. So this is my sleeve. I'm going to cut the second one, and when I'm done cutting the second one, I'll go and join the upper part of the gown to the lower part of the gown this way. I'll fix my sleeve, fix this zip, and I'll come back and show you the finish look. So I'm done sewing the gown. As you can see, this is the finished look. You can see the basque waistline, very neat and clean. You can see. So this is the sleeve, see, and this is the length of the gown, see. So this is the back. The back has a lower neckline, as you can see, and this is the vent. You can see the vents. You can see. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.